The courtroom was packed, the kind of crowd you'd expect at a high-profile trial. Journalists scribbled notes, photographers waited anxiously outside for the verdict. The air was thick with tension, humming with the silent electricity of assumption and judgment. At the center of it all sat Marcus Reid, a 26-year-old black man, tall, lean, and composed. His clothes were plain, but his posture was regal. He sat at the defense table, alone. He wasn't given a public defender. He didn't ask for one. He chose to defend himself. Judge Hawthorne glanced at him with a tired sigh. He'd been on the bench for 20 years. He knew how this would end. Another young man who thought he could outsmart the system. "Mr. Reid, you're aware of the charges against you. Armed robbery. Assault. Resisting arrest. This is serious business." The judge's voice was slow and deliberate, like he was explaining something to a child. "Yes, Your Honor," Marcus replied, his voice steady. The judge gave a humorless chuckle. "And you still wish to represent yourself?" "Yes, Your Honor." The courtroom rustled with stifled laughter and whispers. Some of the jurors looked at Marcus with pity. Others with annoyance. The prosecutor, Richard Vaughn, leaned over to his assistant and whispered loud enough for Marcus to hear. "This'll be quick." Vaughn was a courtroom shark, sharp suits, slick hair, and a reputation for ruthless convictions. He had one job: make Marcus the villain. And he was good at his job. The prosecution began, painting Marcus as a dangerous criminal. Vaughn's voice was like a sledgehammer, breaking Marcus down to nothing more than a stereotype. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is simple. Marcus Reid was caught fleeing the scene of a robbery. He matched the suspect's description. He had stolen property on him. An eyewitness identified him. This isn't a mystery. It's common sense." He walked over to Marcus's table, towering over him. "What we have here is a man who thought he could outrun the law. Well, he didn't. He got caught. And today, he faces justice." The jury nodded along. The judge looked bored. This case was already won in their minds. "Your witness," Vaughn said, smirking as he sat down. Marcus stood up, buttoning his shirt sleeves carefully. He walked to the center of the room with measured steps, his voice calm and controlled. "Officer Daniels," Marcus began, addressing the arresting officer. "You testified that you saw me running from the scene of the robbery. Is that correct?" Daniels nodded confidently. "Yes." "You were running, fast. Can you describe me?" "Specifically?" Daniels hesitated. Tall. Black. Hoodie and jeans. Same clothes you were wearing when you were arrested." Marcus nodded, thoughtful. "And you saw all that clearly?" "It was nighttime, wasn't it?" "Well, yes, but the streetlights." "Streetlights," Marcus repeated. "And you were, what, 50 feet away?" "Through a crowd of people?" "In the dark?" Daniels shifted uncomfortably. "Yes, but I know what I saw." Marcus didn't blink. "Do you wear glasses, Officer Daniels?" Daniels blinked, thrown off. "Yes, but that doesn't." "And you weren't wearing them that night, were you?" Daniels' face flushed. "A number?" "I wasn't." The crowd murmured. The jurors exchanged glances. Marcus turned to the jury. "So, the key witness wasn't wearing his glasses. He identified a tall black man in a hoodie and jeans, which, let's be honest, describes half the men in this room. That's what we're calling a proof now? The prosecutor's smirk faded. The judge raised an eyebrow, watching Marcus a little more closely now. Next, Marcus took aim at the stolen property, a watch found in his backpack. You said the watch was stolen from the jewelry store that was robbed. It was found in my bag, correct? Marcus asked Vaughn. Correct, Vaughn answered confidently. Was it fingerprinted? Marcus asked. Vaughn faltered. A broken bar wasn't necessary. You had it. Marcus tilted his head. Not necessary? No prints. None at all. Not even mine. Why is that? Vaughn's jaw tightened. The evidence speaks for itself. The evidence is silent, Marcus shot back, his voice rising. You assumed I stole it because it was in my bag, but no one saw me steal anything. No one saw me enter or exit the store. There are no fingerprints, no DNA, and the only thing tying me to this crime is an unreliable eyewitness who wasn't wearing his glasses. The room was dead quiet. Marcus walked to the jury, his voice low and steady now. I work full-time. No debt. No criminal record. No reason to steal anything. The only reason I'm here, the only reason any of this happened, is because I fit a description. He looked each juror in the eye. How many other innocent people fit a description? How many people get locked away, not because they're guilty, but because they're easy to blame? The silence was deafening. Judge Hawthorne cleared his throat. For the first time, his voice wasn't dismissive. It was thoughtful. Mr. Vaughn, do you have anything further? Vaughn stood, his face red. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Finally, he sat down. No, Your Honor. The judge looked back at Marcus. The room held its breath. Mr. Reid, Judge Hawthorne said slowly, you've not only defended yourself a broken bar, you've dismantled this case piece by piece. You've shown an understanding of the law that, frankly, I wasn't expecting. He leaned forward, his voice low. You're underestimated, Mr. Reid. By me. By this court. And by everyone in this room. But you proved one thing beyond any doubt, you are innocent. The gavel slammed down. Case dismissed. The room erupted into cheers, but Marcus didn't move. He exhaled slowly, his shoulders relaxing. As he gathered his things, Judge Hawthorne called out one last time. Mr. Reid, he said quietly. You belong on the other side of this bench. If you ever decide to become a lawyer or broken bar, this court will welcome you. Marcus smiled, not cocky, but proud. He nodded once. Thank you, Your Honor. But I think the system needs more than lawyers. It needs truth. And with that, Marcus walked out not just a free man, but a man who had rewritten his own story.